special meeting. Before we get officially started, has everyone that wanted to complete a speaker request done so? Okay, because once we get. Oh. All right, one moment. Testing. All right, very well. I don't want to leave anybody out who wants the opportunity to speak, but once we get to item 5, you will not be able to fill out a form. So going once, going twice, and I hope those that are in the overflow are able to hear me. Okay. All right, this time I'd like to call our meeting to order. Shirley, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Troy Carr,
Here.
Jamie Clapham,
Here.
Christine Stephenson,
Here.
Donna Moore,
Here.
Michael Berkland,
Here.
Walt Schwan,
Here.
Katie Urban.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have a 20-second moment of silence. All right, thank you. I'd invite everyone in both rooms to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Before we get started with our public comments, I'd just like to set the groundwork for tonight. There's no easy way to say it or skirt around it, but tonight has the potential to be very difficult. There are a lot of emotions and feelings in this room, and because we're human beings, that's a natural thing. I am confident, though, that the citizens of Rapid City and those of you that are here are able to do it with grace and with respect for each other. I think it's also important to say that the board has not made a decision at this time. And so your comments and the things that you expressed tonight do hold weight with the board because we haven't made any decision. We have 32 forms representing individuals that want to speak tonight. And so in order to extend the time, if we do 2 minutes a person, that's a little over an hour. Okay, so in order for that. 2 minutes. Sorry. Okay, I really have to ask to be respected. I will, anything done, I will not disrespect anybody. So I'm asking for that same respect. So in order for us to change the time, and the policy time for open comments is 30 minutes. So again, if we stuck with that, then over half wouldn't be able to speak. And so in order to respect everyone's time and get everyone to speak, I will make a motion that we extend the time to an hour and 15 minutes, giving all 32 people 2 minutes apiece to speak. My motion will include an exception. Mrs. Swaggart has asked to speak, and so my motion will include giving her 5 minutes. Actually, I'm even lenient with that to speak. So my motion is to amend the time of public speaking, giving Mrs. Swaggart 5 minutes, giving everybody that has filled out a form 2 minutes.
I'll move.
Okay, it's been moved. I actually moved. So Katie, you can put as seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I would like to amend and so much of a compromise, if we as a board would entertain 3 minutes per person. I recognize that that is considerable amount of time. I also recognize that 2 minutes is hard, so I would ask the board to entertain 3 minutes instead of 2.
All right, so you need to make a motion to amend.
Yes, so I'd make a motion to amend your motion to 3 minutes for the public and the exception for Mrs. Swaggart.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the original motion to allow 3 minutes per speaker. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any no's, say no. Okay, so we're back to the original, the amended motion of 3 minutes, still giving Mrs. Swaggart 5 minutes plus to speak. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, so that time has been amended. Again, we are going to do our best tonight to treat every person and every speaker with respect. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." And so the same way you would like for me to respect you and speak to you is the same way that we need to treat the board and treat each other. I'm also asking that we refrain from clapping, from booing, from talking out to people who are on the floor. And I think all this is a sign of respect and respecting everyone's opinion and respecting everyone as a person. Okay, board members, do you have any other statements, not statements, but as far as ground rules that you think that I missed? Okay, at this time, Mrs. Swaggart.
Good evening, Mr. President and board members. I appreciate being given 5 minutes to speak tonight. This is a sad day. It is sad for Rapid City School District, sad for students, sad for the tremendous staff and the tremendous faculty. Sad because this board is not being forthcoming with the public about the reasons they are terminating my employment. Today, I am speaking to you from my heart. I wish nothing more than to continue as superintendent and to work to support all staff, all students, all families in our community. I've devoted 33 years of my life to this district, longer if you count substitute teaching. As a teacher, mentor, principal, and superintendent. I have taken extraordinary steps along the way to support disadvantaged students, to make sure they got the support they deserved. At all points in my career, I focused on students, especially students who needed additional support or an advocate or someone to champion their needs. I have advocated for juveniles at the Juvenile Services Center, ensuring they had access to every class they needed in order to graduate. I even fought for JSC to be a GED testing site, so students who did not want a diploma or felt the diploma was too far away could have a GED in their pockets before they left that facility. From 2010 to 2022, I was the dropout prevention administrator. I met with countless families who encountered issues enrolling in our district, especially at Central High School, after they had been dropped for not attending. Over my career with Rapid City area schools, I mediated many complaints and always listened with an ear for finding a solution to the issue. I want to make one thing clear. I did not use derogatory words when discussing Native Americans that the OCR report alleges. Those hurtful words attributed to me in the OCR report are pure fiction and fabrication. Such venom does not live in my heart. A FOIA request provided no credible evidence that I actually said those words. And it is regrettable and unbelievable that such an interview took place on such an important topic, but somehow the OCR did not record it and did not create a transcript. Instead, the only information provided in a FOIA request is a document entitled Interview Notes. These notes are the only so-called evidence of what was discussed in the OCR interview. The notes do not contain actual quotes, and the statements attributed to me did not happen. There is no proof that I made these alleged derogatory statements, yet this board is terminating my employment anyway. The entire disciplinary process has been unjust and punitive. I accepted the board's 30-day suspension beginning on July 2nd, and I fully expected to return to work on August 1st. But without warning or explanation, on July 18th, let me say that again, on July 18th, I was sent a notice of intent to terminate if I didn't choose to resign or retire. I have been treated differently than other similarly situated people. I have not been provided a reason for the double jeopardy. This board has not provided any opportunity for me to tell my side since June 3rd. After hearing my side on June 3rd, the board chose suspension as the proper disciplinary action. Even in June, the district would not let me tell my story to our community. Instead, I was asked to apologize to the public during the June 3rd meeting to smooth things over with the community. I was told the community relations manager and the district's attorney had to approve any proposed apology I wrote. It was made clear that I was not being allotted the opportunity to fully defend myself. Instead, I believed I needed to make a more ambiguous apology, that I did not recall making these comments, trying to make matters better with the community and to appease the district. I did as expected, and I wrote an apology to the community with this in mind. I really wish now I hadn't done that. Let me be clear today, I did not say the discriminatory comments attributed to me by the OCR. This district is using those allegations as a pretext and an excuse for why they are terminating me of my employment. I also would like to be clear that I would have apologized because I think these words are awful, and I would have apologized that they were out there in the community attributed to me that I would not have said. I didn't recall saying them. I'm sorry these alleged derogatory statements being attributed to me has harmed our community, but I did not make those statements, and I should have fought harder to make that clear to the community from the beginning, rather than trying to smooth things out as told, as directed in my apology. Our community will be watching you as you move forward. Students and their families deserve true leadership and a meaningful review of the overall education environment within this district. The step of terminating me does nothing more than momentarily silence the voices of community critics. My final words tonight come from my heart that is hurting right now. Thank you to past and current students. Thank you to past and current families, past and current colleagues, and community members who have voiced their unwavering support for me and my family. I appreciate you all. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Thank you.
Next, Conchi Weaver.
I'm going to read to you an excerpt from an article in the Rapid City Journal this May 24th, 2024. It reads, "This weekend, a record number of more than 150 Native students will take home their high school diplomas from Rapid City area schools. Never have this many Indigenous students graduated from Rapid City area schools," Title VI Director Ira Taken Alive said. Last year, 96 Native students graduated from RCAS. "This was our largest class to date," Taken Alive said. "We're looking forward to continuing to connect with our students. We're on a path of each year having the potential of being the largest class ever of Native American students in Rapid City area schools." Last year, the district's Indian Education Office began offering graduation success coaches at Stevens, Central, and Rapid City Alternative Academy. This is just one of the innovations brought to this district by our current superintendent. We are gathered here today, unfortunately, to witness the advent of a new standard of justice, a standard whereby a person is condemned by a community based on statements attributed to her by someone who was not under oath and not on the basis of what she has actually done. Where is the justice in hearsay over substance? Where is the justice in accusation without proof? This is not the American standard of justice that says she is innocent until proven guilty. Where is the soul of a community that does not forgive, even when a sincere apology for what is alleged is offered? There is no forgiveness or redemption with that pressure group. They are in the business of demand and then destroy. It's good that we are all here together because this is a foretaste of what is to come. If an innocent woman is allowed to be treated as guilty on a baseless accusation, who will be the next victim and who will defend them? Certainly not this board. No one is safe, not even members of this body. You are not immune either. I urge you to vote no on this item, but even if you do, as a result of this unfair process, this board has created a hostile workplace. And there is nowhere where Nicole Swigert can go to get her reputation back. Thank you.
Amber Hoffman.
I'm Amber Huffman. I've taught at Stevens High School since 2001. 24th year in the district, all of which I've been friends with Nicole Swigert. Raised 2 Native American children that came through Rapid City area schools. You were right when you said this is emotional. I'm disappointed with the rash decision that the board has made and also with the lack of communication with the community, with stakeholders involved, with teachers, with parents, et cetera. I'm disappointed that this comes from focus on an OCR report that doesn't seem to have any proof behind it and that hasn't resulted in any worthwhile investigation of its merit. The focus should be on the fact that Nicole has worked in this district for 33 years. When I met her, she taught reading to high school juniors who read at 3rd and 4th grade levels. She has spent her entire career advocating for the very kids that need the most support, the ones that no one else wanted to advocate for much of the time. Kids at JSC, kids who are homeless, kids who are abused, kids who are incarcerated, kids who couldn't afford their GED tests. And she paid for them out of her pocket. I've seen her do it. The point is that she cares more about the kids in this district than anyone I know. And you know her enough by now to know that she never gives up a fight. If there's anyone you want fighting for kids in this district, it's Nicole. My last point is that from a logical standpoint, this is the first superintendent we've had that came up to our community, knows our schools, knows our kids, knows our staff, knows our parents. She's the best superintendent we've had in 24 years of education in Rapid City. It would be a shame to lose her. It would be a shame to waste the time for another superintendent to come in and learn our community and our kids and our schools. We've had a lot of years that felt a little dark and a little hostile for teachers in Rapid City. And when Nicole Swigert became superintendent, many teachers felt a little bit of hope. The idea of her being terminated marks the end of that hope. And maybe says something about the future of the Rapid City District that I hope you think about tonight. Thank you.
Todd Christensen.
Good evening, board members. I've been here a few times before. For those of you, I think everybody knows, I was special ed program manager for the school district for 22 years. So with that said, in that world, definitely have some experience with lawsuits, complaints, and rarely do you come out in a positive light. And it seems that this proposed dismissal termination of Superintendent Swigert is solely based on that. Is it based on her record? Is it based on what she's done in the district? Is there any documentation that she has ever engaged in this behavior? Nicole told me that she didn't say those things. I 100% believe her because I've worked closely with Nicole for years. Is there a transcript of this? Is there a recording? Is there proof? Is it accurate? I've been through those things and I can tell you that most of the time they're not. I retired after the 2022-2023 school year. I did come back this last school year as a special ed para sub. And in December, Superintendent Swigert called me and asked if I would fill in as the interim director from December till the end of the year. I thought about it for about that long, only because it was her that called me. And I know what she does for our district. Look around you, teachers, paras, former board members, sped paras, gen ed teachers, sped teachers, all of them support her because they know she's involved and she cares. And she does what she says she's going to do. She's consistent. In 6.5 months, when I came back as the interim, I spent more time with the superintendent of this district than I did in 22 years. I think that says a lot. So in closing, I'd like to say that I think it's no secret, there are certain organizations that are community organizations pushing for this. anything that involves race, racism, it's the easiest thing to accuse somebody of, but it's the hardest thing to defend yourself. There's no history, no documentation, no experience that Nicole has ever been that kind of a superintendent. So I'm asking you, the board, to show some courage and make the right decision for what's best for this district. Thank you.
Thank you. Florence Thompson?
My name is Florence Thompson. I'm president of South Dakota Parents Involved in Education. And I'm also a retired school psychologist with over 40 years experience in the schools, many Native American schools. This is all political. Big city racial politics has come to Rapid City, and we all know it. These are extremely well-funded professional political agitators who have targeted Nicole. They do not represent all of the Native American community. They use Marxist tactics, and if the board goes along with this, it will amount to a coup against the district. The acrimony will not stop. Our superintendent was targeted in order to take her out and to bring in a more leftist replacement. A radical shift of power to the extreme left, detrimental to racial relations in the schools, the community as a whole. Radicals are never satisfied by appeasement. It only whets their appetite for more victims to target. White staff and students will have to tiptoe around these political, racial landmines. Students will be indoctrinated into this agenda. The diversity, equity, inclusion, implicit bias, and all white people are racist. So this will contribute to even more decline in our enrollment as parents take their children and flee the district. So I pray that you will not do this. I pray that you will see the right way out of this and the brave way out of this. So I hope you all have some courage. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Hubbeling, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Have mixed feelings. It's so good to see some of you that I taught a few years ago. And I hope you have good memories of me. So I'm Carol Hubling, and I was involved in the Rapid City school system from 1950 until 2014. So I feel like have observed enough teachers and superintendents to be a good judge of quality and character. I'm speaking on behalf of Mrs. Nicole Swigert. She's been an asset to the Rapid City School for many years. I knew her for the 25 years on committees and in service times. And then when she came to Central, just before I retired, and we sat next to each other in the little cubicles. I found her to be professional in all ways that needed to lead the Rapid City schools. She was passionate about improving students' learning and lives. I've never heard her make any irreverent or brash statements in any group of individuals. I've never even heard her use bad language. She loved her students and wanted the best for them. Now, there are several reasons why I question the board's decision, and I know you all have good hearts, want to do the right thing. But I question the decision to terminate her rather than let the 30-day suspension suffice. Number one, why would the person the school board had vetted so carefully? I mean, you spent hours vetting her 3 years ago. Why would she become suddenly so outlandish, bombastic, and racist in her comments? She had an impeccable record for 32 years. People respected her. Her students respected her. Number two, what evidence is there that she has given inappropriate opinions like I've seen in the news and apparently on billboards now? No one who knows her believes these charges are true. There must be some really big misunderstandings involved in this. 3, what mediation has been done with Mrs. Swigert? Or real evidence has been shown to fire her without cause? I'm urging the school board to reconsider its decision to terminate her, go into mediation to rethink this situation and reinstate her. We're all after the same goal, and that is to educate our students in the best possible way. Rapid City Schools need her leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Please forgive me. Jean,
Coraline.
Coraline, my apologies.
Hi, my name is Jean Orline. This is the first time I have spoken at anything like this. I did address the board through a letter. I'm happy to say I referred to the board as despicable, and I do believe that. I think you have already made a decision. I think it is not based on truth. It is not based on facts. It is based on personal, individual, different agendas. You don't have to like Ms. Swigert, but you do have to make decisions based on facts and truth. The comments that were attributed to her, I don't think anybody is disputing, are terrible comments. They are not appropriate. They were not said by her. I don't think anyone who knows her, including all of you, because you have met her, you don't have to like her. You don't have to like everything she stands for. But she doesn't lie. She does tell the truth. She has not ever done anything but try to help students and fight for what she thinks is right. I urge you to make a decision based on truth, not on other agendas, not on hearsay, not on fear of an organization or group that acts as if they're bullies. There's got to be a better way to help each party come to an understanding and move forward on how to help students in this district. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda Burchett,
Borgert.
Borger.
Yes, hi.
Maybe I just make a general apology to everybody.
It's okay.
That I butchered.
I'm sure any way you would have pronounced it would have been better than what it's actually pronounced, so.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. I do just want to make a comment. I do feel like there's a lack of transparency. I don't feel like there's much honesty. We started this meeting saying that there wasn't a decision that was made, but it sounds like there was a decision that was made on July 18th when Nicole got a letter to terminate. So I just want to call that out. But I would also like to read a text sent by a former student. Hey, Miss S, I heard about what's going on, and I just want you to know that you are an amazing teacher in person. Without you and your guidance through high school, I wouldn't be here today. You, Miss H, and Mr. Berg were the only people who never gave up on me, never called me a failure, and that I wouldn't amount to anything. On the contrary, you never gave up on me, and I know I could be a headache at times. You always saw my true potential, and I will forever hold that close to me and the love and guidance and patience you showed, not only as teachers, but as loving parents. You even tried to take me in as your own when I had nobody to turn to. You saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, and I will forever be in your debt because of that. No matter what happens today, you will always be a person who made a significant impact on my life for the better. No teacher has ever taken the time to care like you, to get to know and to understand students like me. You will forever be the greatest teacher, principal, and mentor to me. So no matter the outcome today, you have made a difference. And I agree with that. I grew up in the Rapid City Area School District, and I've been around Nicole a lot. And I think that each and every one of you know that slander does not exist in her vocabulary. So I think it's pretty crappy to believe hearsay. We know there wasn't a transcript. We know that proof doesn't exist. So I hope you change your decision that's already been made.
Daniel Berchef.
You can say skip.
I just want to say that I think we need to set an example. Anyone can go slander anyone, but you know, we need to take the time and have some empathy, and you know, look who's really behind everything. So, thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn Herfler.
Yes, you butchered my name, but I forgive you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board. The OCR claimed in their report that racist remarks were made by, I guess we're allowed to say her name now, Mrs. Swigart. And it seems like the OCR gets to be the arbiters of truth and they don't have to provide evidence. Other than they said that she said it, like Ms. Swigart said, where are the transcripts? Where are the recordings? And are you basing your decision to fire her from just the OCR report alone? Or have you, before today's date, requested a FOIA from the OCR to substantiate their claims? If not, this vote needs to be postponed until further evidence is received, because the burden of proof is on you, not her. Because it looks like right now, this board is attributing guilt without evidence in an attempt to fire someone simply because you don't like her. And parents know that this will impact the entire district, including their students. And they are concerned that if their kid is accused without evidence, that they too will be falsely maligned and unfairly punished. And for those families who feel like this board does not represent their values, as the parent, they have the ultimate authority over the education of their children, not you. Public school is not the only option. There's homeschool, private school, and maybe it's time that we start emailing our representatives to advocate for charter school legislation in the great state of South Dakota, where under God, the people rule. Thanks.
Thank you. Stephanie Hunter. She's right there.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you were down below. Oh, that's right, they're probably staying.
I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to be here tonight. I've been in several meetings with several of you. I've worked with you, some of you with your children. And which some of you will find this comical, I'm almost speechless at this decision. I do not understand how it went from this is where we are, you get a suspension, and in the middle of the suspension, there was notification of intent to terminate. In addition, district leadership were pulled together at the beginning of August and told of the intent that another individual would be an interim superintendent. It is not an easy time to be in public education, as you all know. We had a leader that we trusted, that we believed in, that listened to us, and that heard us anytime and every time she was asked. I can say I've worked with Nicole professionally. Not once, not one time have I ever heard anything derogatory. And she and I have one-on-one meetings, so it could have happened if it was going to happen. I am telling you that these allegations against her are inaccurate. As a board, you owe it to all of us to stand behind the decisions that I would have to agree with other speakers has been made. I also got to serve on the strategic committee. Pillars, one of our pillars is communication. I don't know how to tell you this, but it is not going well. There is no reason. And I can tell you, because I get to sit on other things that say it's a personnel issue, we can't discuss that. I understand that and I support that. But it is not okay if district leadership was pulled together and said, this is the plan at this time, and your staff was not told, the only reason we found out is because we got to open your board agenda. That's not okay. You talk about culture, you talk about climate. The one person that we knew that we could go to was Nicole. Is everybody gonna like her? Absolutely not, because I could sit here and say there's people who don't like me. I'm okay with that. I'm not here to be liked. I am here to do the job that I was hired to do. I am here to advocate for children, which I have been doing for close to 30 years. I need a leader in this district that gets to stay more than a few years. The tumultuous times that Rapid City area schools have been in, we as a staff felt that we were finally on the right track. I think that the board has possibly misjudged the support that Nicole has from staff. She is liked and well respected. You need to change your minds. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Mueller.
Good evening. Thank you for extending the time for us. I taught at Central High School for 22 years, and I have had 3 children attend school here. I want to start with a quote from To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus is telling Jim about courage, and he says, when you know you are licked. Courage is when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and see it through no matter what. Our superintendent may not have known she was licked when she said yes to this job, but our track record isn't good. Nicole has cleaned up and is cleaning up messes inherited by superintendents who ignored and or exasperated the problems for decades. In 2022, I had enough and was blessed with an opportunity to teach in Hill City and took it. When I left the hostile, abusive environment at Central, I prayed that something would happen to change what my friends were experiencing. I felt guilty for leaving. Then a change was made. The board hired Nicole, and in 2 years, the administrative team that lied, cheated, and abused, and I'm not talking about one person, was gone, replaced by a team that supports and listens. Hearing the joy and enthusiasm of my colleagues throughout last year and as they return to work today warms my heart. Nicole made that happen. I have worked with Nicole for my entire career, and I'm friends with her. And I would need a full transcript and a recording to believe that she said the things that she's being accused of saying. I, as well as many of you, have experienced how easy it is for someone to twist your words and ruin yourself or someone you love. Nicole is not a racist. She is one of the most compassionate and dedicated educators I know. Nicole stands up for teachers and fiercely fights for our students. She has been a champion for so many over the years, fought for students, fought for teachers, and fought for this district. And now you have burnt our champion without allowing anyone to fight for her, without allowing her to fight for herself. I supported most of you sitting here. I encouraged my friends and family to vote for you. I thought you were different, but when given the opportunity to hang one of our own out to dry, save face, pursue an agenda, or out of pettiness, it seems like you might have taken it. That disappoints me and disheartens me. In the documentary just released, To Not Be Destroyed, Jamie Clapman said she heard over and over that teachers needed to feel heard and supported. Nicole hears them and she supports them. She supports us. You will never find or afford another like her. Thank you.
Thank you. Travis King.
All right, I'll start my watch too, so I'll cut it short. My name's Travis King. I'm Rapid City resident. I've grown up here. I used to believe that Rapid City area schools was a school district that you could be anybody you wanted to be. You didn't have to come from any certain race or religion. I was first graduated from my family from college. All three of my daughters have went through these schools. They're back and graduated. I was hired, I'm a wrestling coach for the last 26 years. I was hired by Mr. Clapham in 1998 at Southwest and have stayed on, continuing to help. I'll just kind of state what I know about her is I met her early in the 90s at Stevens, and she was one of the best teachers. She went all the way through, became teacher of the year, drove this little stupid car around town because she was the best. And then you put her in to save kids, reading recovery, math recovery, credit recovery. Every single kid and family utilizes those skills and those things that she implemented in those times from 2010 to 2022. We all forget all the good things and we think about the bad things. I just don't like social media and the way it can portray someone as a villain. You know, I believe still today, my grandkids are at South Canyon, Pinedale. I know I work in a profession. I'm a nurse anesthetist that works with all diversities. I work with underprivileged. I work with the richest. It doesn't matter in my job. I'm the same. I'm a neutral bias there to help someone. She was this person for the school district. And then you guys, I mean, we've struggled for 10 years. This is supposed to be a collaborative process between you guys and Rapid City area schools to make this prosper. And you know what? I've watched 10 years of this and I've never been at this crap, but I can say that we have missed the agenda. We're here, a lot of us are here for our own agenda. I always thought school board supported school district to make the best possible student. I got 50 seconds. I'm on my watch, okay? I still want to believe that this school district can come back and find a way to look at those things that you got mistakes. 2010, it was, you didn't have a good attendance policy. There was no such thing as cell phone emails that were valid. 2015, they come back and put 7 schools on it and they're all the ones. Why didn't you go to Canyon Lake? Why didn't you try other schools when they're doing this report? That means there are probably 50, 60 different, multiple and different principals that say they don't know what the policy is. They do their own thing. Whether the SRO from North goes to the house, does the SRO from Corral go to the house? This is all about a bunch of stuff that she was teaching the future. And then all of a sudden we come here and I don't understand. That's it. I understand. But here's the thing. I'm sorry. That's why I was against the 3 minutes, because you can't get out enough positive things for Nicole and how many lives she's touched. I've never seen her do anything but help kids. And you put her in this place because the last failure's a decade of bad superintendents. I can't say that Rapid City, you can be anything you want anymore, according to what we read and hear today. Maybe I should encourage my kids to move elsewhere instead of living right here in this town. I'm just trying to go 4th generation. Thanks for your time. I hope you can reconsider and you're not already in it.
Heather Baxter.
Good evening, board. I'm Heather Baxter, and wow, July 18th. Thanks for the transparency. School board members make decisions for the students and families in the school district. They represent the community's interests and voice while working to bring what's best for the overall community and the children in the school district. The current superintendent has represented this district in the district's interest. She's gone extra lengths to reach all levels of learning, all walks of life, and served in the school system for around 33 years. She's been known over the decades to be a person who brings unity, lifts people up, respects all level of parents and students, while encouraging students and being fully engaged. I find it quite paradoxical that I was recently here and had proof of being offended by a board member who exemplified division with a distasteful post while putting themselves in an invidious position. The board member chose to apologize. I was pragmatic. I accepted the apology. We have a situation, and there was proof, if I didn't already say that. We have a situation where a superintendent has jumped through all the hoops you set forth. She apologized for the allegations that have no proof that were made against her. But for some caustic reason, her apology, it's not okay for you guys. If there's proof, please show it. I've put a FOIA in place as well myself, so I can see for myself what you guys are saying that you have seen. Otherwise, you just set the bar really high for the next time you say something that's offensive to somebody else, because it's probably going to be perceived as insolent. I would refer to what the president said earlier. That was Luke 6:31 with the Bible verse that was quoted earlier. So let's go back to what he said. Keep in mind, you are public officials. You work for the public, not for a special group, not for an entity. Represent the people who elected you. We trust you, and that's what we expect out of you, is to bring forth trust and transparency as well. Think about the consequences of what will happen if you choose to fire someone for an allegation with no proof. Stand for truth and facts when you vote. RCS needs our leadership back. Please reinstate our superintendent immediately. And for those board members who choose to go rogue, they're voting to get rid of an outstanding superintendent, I would ask for your resignation, please.
Deb Steele.
Good night, or good evening. I just wanted to mention that I've sent you all a letter. I'm not gonna read it to you. I said a lot of the same things that you're hearing tonight, but the biggest thing that I wanted you to know is that I hired Nicole as the dropout prevention coordinator because of who she is. Please read my letter. Thank you.
Sam. Bean. Renee.
Close.
Say it for me.
Benny.
Benny.
Yep. I've lived in Rapid City for over 38 years and I've sent 5 boys through the school system. All have done very well. They're all members of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Nicole was a teacher of theirs because it's been quite a few years ago. They're in their late 30s and early 40s. She was one of the best teachers I've ever seen. My parents were both teachers. She's the best of the best. I don't know any reason why you would elect to get rid of her as our superintendent. I've seen a number of the administrators come and go in the school district. I would agree with Travis King in the fact that we've waited years to get somebody like Nicole to step up to the plate. She's from the area. She loves our school. She loves our city. She loves your students. She needs to be here and she needs to lead the school district. I think she's had a great career. She's an excellent teacher, was an excellent teacher. She's a caring person that the current employees and all of the teachers in the district want as their leader. She cares about the community and all the people in it. And she'll go out of her way to help all of the students in the district, no matter who they are. I don't believe what the report said she said, because I've known her for too long and gone through too many. I've got 4 grandkids going through the school district right now. We're not living in a perfect world, but Nicole is one of the most caring people I've met in the school district. As a parent, I've been waiting for somebody like Nicole to lead us and hope that you in your vote elect to keep her on as our superintendent. She's the best thing going for the school.
Samantha McCulley.
Hi, my name is Samantha McCulley, and I have 2 active children in the school district and one that's graduated from Stevens. I had a letter written, but it's reiterating everything everybody else has said. Ms. Swigert, I've first interacted with when I had her when she was a very new teacher. And she was, I don't remember all of my teachers because I'm getting old. But she was one of my favorites. And I am very active in the school district, have been since my daughter was in kindergarten, who's now in college. And I'm going to tell you that I have never heard anything negative about Ms. Swigert ever, only positives. She has done nothing but devote her life to the school district and these students. And for you guys to go off a hearsay and to be willing to fire somebody or ruin their career over something you can't even substantiate is despicable in my mind. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for our kids going forward. They can just be randomly accused of things and punished subsequently without any proof. And I want you to be careful because turnabout's fair play and this could be turned around on you. I would not want that to happen. But what's stopping it? If this happens to somebody with her character and substantial reputation, who's saying it couldn't happen to anyone? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ironshell. And everyone has 3 minutes, so just, oh, and Mr. Einshell, excuse me a second. I wanted to address the comment about, using Mrs. Swigert's name, which in previous boards has not been, allowed, but it was just awkward not to. And I figured since she spoke, then I just allowed it to be. So that's why the change in being able to say her name. Excuse me, Mr. Ironshell. Thank you so very much. You're next.
Good evening, community. Good evening, board. I just have a couple questions this evening. And my first question is to this young lady here who is a student of RCAS. And I would like to ask you if you felt that the superintendent's words were those racist.
Yeah.
Our students feel like what she said was racist. The OCR is comprised of teams of people who have no connection to Rapid City, no malice against Rapid City. And I actually believe the OCR report. I don't see why they would lie about any community in this country. And so I stand on that I believe that the OCR report is truth, and that what our superintendent said did come out of her lips, regardless if she has a momentary lapse of memory or not. And what I would like to ask in my second question, so the superintendent had 4 weeks of suspension, in which time she was supposed to obtain some cultural sensitivity. Did she do that? Because if she did not do that, then she was not serious about these allegations. She was not serious about keeping her position. If she didn't do what you asked her to do, which was a mandate part of the suspension. So did she or did she not complete cultural sensitivity training as prescribed by this board? And if she did not, why didn't she? Was she waiting for the last week of her vacation? Those are my 2 questions. And I stand tonight to applaud you, each of you who voted against racism. And I'm ashamed of my community tonight. So many people showed up for racism to support a racist remark. It's shame. And we need to do better, Rapid City. Thank you.
Michelle Maruani.
Shame on all of you.
Same to you.
I thought that wasn't allowed. Clearly it is. I see self-selected outrage. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Marwani. I'm a teacher, local, state, and national educational consultant, and a longtime member of this community. I've worked in K-12 schools, universities, and state and national educational organizations for many years. I want to speak about my experiences over the last 15 years when Nicole was my supervisor, then a colleague when I was a curriculum coordinator for Rapid City, and our relationship continues until today. My experiences are from the trenches, not paraphrased type notes from a distant DC bureaucrat. I worked as the liaison between Rapid City, the court system, and JSC for years. I wish you could have seen Nicole fighting to get kids into schools. These are the same kids that the schools didn't want them back because the same Rapid City schools that didn't want them back because they were trouble. Nicole fought harder than anyone to get kids the soft landing they deserved, to get them the credits they needed, the educational programming they deserved. No one in this school district worked harder for kids. She improved programming, transition services, and attention for the kids that few valued. She did so daily in her words and actions. She showed up for them when few others would. Now, in terms of her leadership, we've seen what what your teachers are saying about her. I've had that same experience. Great leaders leave a swath of leaders in their wake. Under the supervision of Nicole Swigert, with her support, I was selected as the first ever teacher in residence at the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. Under Nicole's supervision, with her support, I worked with educators and Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota elders on the current Oceti Sakowin Essential Understandings and Standards. You see, it was Nicole and the principal of Stevens, more than any others, that saw the critical need to improve teaching and learning for and about our Native students. We know that students need to see themselves in the curriculum, and she was one of the only Rapid City administrators who actually cared to act on that. We all know that our community needs work and healing, and we can have that when we work systemically in our community, in our schools, to teach what has not been taught. Over the last several years, as an educational consultant, I've worked with scores of schools across the state, rural, urban, and tribal. And I have personally heard so many comments about how teachers from other districts in South Dakota are envious of what she is doing. What she's doing to support the Oceti Sakowin Essential Understandings, K-12 across the curriculum. Please believe me when I say that what you have here with Nicole is the envy of teachers and administrators across the state. We see it, and I would hope that you can too. Undeniably, Native students and their parents were not always treated with respect they deserved and in this district, and you should know it was from staff in this district. To my knowledge, most of those teachers and administrators are gone. I say with absolute conviction, I have only seen a fierce ally for our Native students in Nicole. Never have I ever heard or seen anything to suggest that she is racist, ageist, sexist, classist, nothing. I would never stand here in support of a racist.
Ms. Marani, that's time. Paul Sterling.
Good evening. I'm Paul Sterling. I used to be an administrator in the district. I worked with Nicole at Stevens. My wife will tell you that she's considered by many of the teachers that she worked with as a teacher superintendent. I could spend a lot of time telling you the things that people have repeated and repeated and repeated about what a wonderful person she is. But my purpose in being here is to remind the board, as an administrator, I know the procedure. And at some point, everybody will be done talking. We'll all be dismissed. You'll go into executive session. And then you'll have your time to make your decision. What I want to remind you is when you close the doors, remember the positive. So often we focus on the negative. We focus on the situation. Not long ago, a few months ago, you made the decision to extend Mrs. Swigert's contract by 4 years. There must have been a reason for that. So in doing that, there must have been some positive things. I would say several. When you go back and when you go into executive session, I ask you to dig out those evaluations that you did and look at those evaluations and read the comments and see if they must be positive because you've extended. So I don't want you to go to, okay, this is the situation. Talk about the person. She's a great person. Don't forget that. And at the end of the day, tomorrow you'll all go back to work. You'll go back to your job. The decision you make today could end a 30-year career. And I think that's sad.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I know it's quite warm in here, so we have asked that the air be. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry for the imposition. All right, Joe Gutierrez. Close enough. Gutenberg, no.
Hi, Joe Gutierrez. I'm the commander of the Western South Dakota Juvenile Services Center. I'm with the Sheriff, Pennington County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Miller would have been here tonight, but Sheriff Mueller would have been here tonight, but he has a work obligation out of town. I know he wrote a letter to the board for consideration, to be considered. Again, I had been the commander of the Western South Dakota Juvenile Services Center since 2011. We are a holding facility for juveniles who have made poor choices in the community. These juveniles are waiting to go to court, serving a sentence, or waiting to go to placement to work on themselves. We have a very hardcore population. A high percentage of our students have little or no credits in school. Without an education, our juveniles will have a challenging future ahead. I have worked closely with Superintendent Swigert for many years. Superintendent Swigert has helped us develop a strong education program for these juveniles and have been motivated to attend school. These kids just are the kids that didn't want to go to school. These kids who have been kind of truant, these kids have been kind of lost. Superintendent Swigert has helped us and our facility throughout the years with graduation. Our graduation rates for GED and diploma have skyrocketed with her leadership and development. Many of these juveniles have graduated, had cultural graduations, which we needed support for doing feathering ceremonies as well. Superintendent Swigert has been instrumental in finding us speakers and people who would come in to do these ceremonies for our juveniles. Superintendent Swigert has been a great partner, liaison, and advocate for our students that are incarcerated and not able to attend school. She is hands-on, and she has been willing to do whatever it takes to get our students educated. We have attended many meetings together through the community, and to tell you, she is an advocate for juveniles. She's an advocate for kids. She's an advocate for making sure that the right thing is done for kids in our community. Our education program is strong because of Superintendent Swigert's leadership and vision. Our district is strong because of Superintendent Swigert. If you release her, it will be a big mistake. Superintendent Swigert has been a great partner and an advocate for all juveniles. We support her. I hope you will as well. She's a voice for education. Please reconsider your decision. And we want to thank Nicole Swigert for her service to juveniles and for the Juvenile Services Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Kirsten Meadow.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Mitzel. I was born and raised here in Rapid City, South Dakota, and attended Rapid City area schools for the entirety of my school career. I graduated from Stevens High School as cum laude, and I also was the first generation in my family to attend college. Absolutely none of that would have been possible without the teachers in this district and good administration. Nicole actually said that everyone remembers their teachers. That was in the Rapid City Journal on September 16th, 2006, when she was awarded Teacher of the Year. She has stood up for students who struggle, who are lost, who are broken, and who need additional help. If it were not for teachers, some of which are actually in this room, that helped me along my career as a student, I wouldn't have graduated, nor would I have ever went to college, and let alone been the first in my family to actually graduate college with a bachelor's degree. I have been around for years in seeing this board, and this was the first time in a very, very long time that I've seen cohesiveness from administration. You can feel the more relaxed vibe when it comes to communication with teachers and administration. They are happy with the direction that leadership is taking them, finally. Just last year, Rapid City area schools welcomed over 104 new teachers. When can we say we welcomed that many teachers previously? If it wasn't for Nicole and her being instrumental in bringing teachers, paras, and other staff to our district, I guarantee we'd have more school closures coming down the pike. She has fought hard for everybody. And it is really unfortunate that you guys have made a decision already as of July 18th to terminate her. She is the best thing to have happened to this district in a very long time. and it will be remembered when we go home tonight, how you treated someone with no basis, no proof, no substantiation of anything that was supposedly said. That is all hearsay. Thank you.
Thank you. William Wagner.
How y'all doing? Some documents for y'all. While I'm reading this, y'all can see it. I'm William Sean Wagner. I didn't know why I was called here, other than the big guy Yahweh said, you got a job. So it's been pretty scary. I hear divide and conquer. I wasn't even here for the superintendent. I'm here for the raise that y'all just got while y'all were in contract. Under South Dakota Codified Law, Article 12, subsection 3, extra compensation prohibited, unauthorized contracts, change in compensation of officers, appropriations for defense of state. The legislator shall never grant any extra compensation to any public officer, employee, agent, or contractor after services have been rendered or the contract entered to, nor authorize the payment of any claims or part thereof created against the state under any agreement or contract made without express authority of law, and such unauthorized agreements or contracts shall be null and void. So basically, y'all are fired, okay? Y'all contracts are done after I read this. Y'all are fired. Y'all were trying to kick someone out for 30 years. I see like 300, 400, 500 years of backing of teachers here, but that ain't about that. Y'all are selling out, and right here it says, agreements or contracts shall be null and void, nor shall the compensation of any public officer be increased or diminished during his term of office, provided, however, that the legislator may make appropriations for expenditures incurred in suppressing insurrection and repelling invasion. Next thing is action of bond after default taxpayers' action. So y'all umbrella bond for sureties of fidelity, and the third page, I think it is, the public official's bond is statutory obligation requiring faithful performance, fidelity, and flexibility. Also frequently discussed in the context of public officials are public employees' dishonesty, coverages, and similar fidelity policies. These instruments typically include traditional two-party relationships where the insurer issues a policy or a bond agreeing with the insured to indemnify the insured for certain losses arising from the dishonesty or other enumerated conduct of its employees. You know, there's more to it, but y'all are fired, okay? Constitutionally, y'all are fired. Okay, thank y'all for a good night. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Natalie Means.
Hello, school board and guests in attendance. My name is Natalie Stites Means. I'm a tribal member with the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And I do not send my child, my nieces, or my nephews to the Rapid City area schools. I homeschool them. I do vote in the elections, and I do care about what happens here. The reason why I don't send my own children is because in 2019, I came to this meeting and found out about the atrocious graduation rates for Native students. And I thought, my child isn't going to endure that. Now, I have a lot of privileges. Your average parent doesn't. I have a degree from UCLA. I have 2 degrees from UCLA. And one of them is a law degree. And so I keep hearing legal concepts being thrown around in this meeting, like hearsay and proof and evidence. But the OCR report was not entered in a court of law. It wasn't a lawsuit. It was an extensive information gathering visit that took place over the course of 2 years, from my understanding. And it took several years to get those authorities here to look at the civil rights of Native Americans here in Rapid City. One thing I've noticed from most of our speakers is that they do not care about the civil rights of Native American students. What they do care about is somebody's job, somebody's pension, benefits. Give her a nice handshake, throw a parade, but she needs to go. There needs to be consequences for violating the civil rights of Native American students. And they need to be found in personnel, policies, practices. It's ridiculous to assume it won't be. And this is why this is an ongoing issue. In 1999, the South Dakota Advisory Committee to the United States Civil Rights Commission was here in Rapid City and noted atrocious civil rights violations that Native people were going through. You know, if the feds were lying on my name, like is alleged here, that I said something like Indian families run on Indian time and that's why they have issues with truancy. If I was misquoted in such an egregious way, I would not have signed my name to the voluntary compliance agreement with the federal officials, which the superintendent did. I would have contested it from the start. So why did she sign it? You know, white supremacy is not illegal. Racism is not illegal, but violating civil rights of Native American students at their public school, it is. If you didn't think that was going on here, why did the school district enter into the voluntary agreement? And in this case, I just don't think the feds are lying on the names of any of the officials involved. I think they were as appalled as all of us here in the community are. Some of us read every single page of that report, plus the footnotes.
Mrs. Site means that's time.
I urge you to become familiar with this report because it's Native student lives that are at stake. Not any of these students, they're not their kids, my kids. Thank you.
Michael Marple? Michael? Oh.
Good evening. My name is Mike Murphy. I've been a teacher, a coach, educator, administrator in this district for well over 30 years. I'm retired now, and I'm not going to talk about Nicole. I think everything said about her can be said. She's a great person, wonderful person. I'm going to talk about the school district. What are you going to do now? I mean, really? Every time we need a new superintendent, and I've been through a lot of them, you go nationwide search, you go to Colorado, you go to Minnesota, heaven forbid, California, you bring somebody in, they've got their ideas, they don't know Rapid City. It takes them a year and a half just to get used to the Rapid City, let alone our school district. Then it takes them another year to kind of get used to Rapid City, the culture of it. And what happens is they leave. You pay them a lot of money, you give them a house, give them a car, and they leave. Now we've got a person with Nicole that is very good. A lot of people like her. I've worked with her too. I've worked with her in the juvenile diversion program. I worked with her with truancy. I was a teacher at North. I was a teacher at Dakota and a teacher at Central. I know what Nicole's like. Maybe she did say some things, but I don't think she meant it. And that's the problem. So when you guys make your decision tonight, and I think you've already made it, that's why I don't want to really speak on Nicole's behalf, I'm more worried about the district. Every time we go through this, it's a year and a half, 2 years, and then they leave and we change, everything changes. So I hope you make the right decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor Gunhammer?
Hey, school board, good to see you. So I want to start out by saying congratulations on having made an actually sound decision. You did a fantastic job, and it's good to not come here and say what a bad job you're doing. I appreciate that. But there are a couple of things that I want to draw attention to about some of the presence that's in this meeting tonight. Many, many, many of the people who have showed up tonight, when there was a 14-year report by the OCR documenting top to bottom racism, they didn't show up here. They didn't feel the need to attend these meetings and express their voice. They saw no issue. when Nicole Swigert was given a 30-day vacation with no additional follow-up whatsoever. They were not here. They voiced no opinions. They saw no issue. When all those superintendents who worked previously, who these people have come up here and disparaged, were doing such a terrible job that they all knew about, they weren't in here doing this. They didn't actually care until someone actually got fired for being racist. And now you want me to buy the lie that a government agency conspired to lie about Nicole Swigert? Well, let me ask you this. In that 14 years they had to do so, why didn't they tell that lie about any of the other superintendents? Why didn't they do that? Why did they wait till Nicole to lie about the good one, apparently? Right? So, what is it? Are you officially accusing then a government agency of lying about this? Because they don't have any malice. And you know, there's a lot of talk about pressure groups manipulating an outcome, but I would be very careful about that language, to be honest, because nobody in our coalition belongs to a group that had to perform an emergency name change to avoid being associated with a nationally listed hate group. Not on our side. So congratulations on that, I guess. And I am just very, very curious why none of you were here. None of you came. You all had the same opportunity my community did, and we showed up because when there was institutional racism being documented in area schools, we cared. We showed up and we did something about it. And it feels like what a lot of these people fear is a climate where you can't treat Indians any way you want forever. It comes off like the fear of being next. And I also want to ask why there are so many teachers who got up here tonight and talked about the kids no one else cared for.
Mr. Gunhammer, you're actually speaking to the board, so that's.
Yeah, well, I'm addressing a lot of the public commentary about this issue. Thank you.
And that's time. I'm sorry. Well, I interrupted.
There's
him,
only
so-
2 seconds.
All right, 2 seconds. All right, thank you. Jean Roach.
Hello, yes, my name is Jean Roach. I've been living here in Rapid City most of my life. And I testified here twice before, and I feel that, that the board made a right decision. And one of the reasons why I talked about this last time is that our students are looking at what kind of example that you're going to be presenting to them by let someone make a racial comment and get away with it. And we're supposed to be teaching them right from wrong. And when I have my teenage grandchildren who are now in classes here, and you provide them with a great example of being responsible. And one of the things is that in this town, there's a lot of things that have happened to our Native students. And if she's been here 30 years, I've never seen it addressed. And we've had teachers that pulled hair of Native children. We've had racial remarks. Nothing's been brought to this board that I've seen before, or children have been ignored. Okay, and when one person that maybe has done some good makes this comment and that the people want people to look over the board to overlook it, I don't think that's right. I think it's a great decision that's making great example that our children will see, or all children will see, that it's not right to be making these racial statements. And it's a step forward, definitely. And if someone else views it that way, you have more power to it. But I think the example and the bottom line is that she has to take responsibility and the public will see it. Our community needs some justice. And it's just the very beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Jodine Stone.
Good evening. First of all, I have been in the district. My name is Jodine Stone Tognati, and I've been in the district since 1977. Wow, long time. I stayed home with my children for 10 years. I started in the district as a bilingual teacher assistant. The reason why I could do that job is because my unchi, my grandmother in Lakota, she spoke Lakota all the time. And I laid underneath her ironing board while she talked to her sisters and her relatives. And that's the reason why I could be a bilingual teacher assistant in our district. Well, Mr. Sersasimo, I was a waitress and he told me, you have to do this job. You'll be perfect for it. And he knew I loved children, so I did it. Well, I have been in the district as long as Nicole because I stayed home with my babies for 10 years and came back as a teacher. When I became a teacher, we did not have many teachers that were Native American. Now we have many, and we have so many students in our district that are achieving great things, not just our Lakota children, all of our children. My unchi would want me to stand up here and tell you that Nicole, she has so much integrity and she deserves to be here. And I come to the board meetings all the time because I care this district. And people wonder why I do it because I care a lot about this district. And she has done so much for this district. It is unbelievable how much she's done, and she cares about all children, everyone. She cares about the employees. Example, I talk a lot, and I know I only have 3 minutes. Everybody knows how much I talk. I sat on a committee for 2 years with one teacher from every school in this district. There was one teacher from every school in this district, and she would give me the look. But yet she was always, she might give me the look, but she was patient and she let me talk to the bitter end about our Valley View. Please reconsider her. This woman, I've been through so many administrators and she by far is one of the best we've ever had. Thank you.
Thank you. Hermes Battleview.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
I don't have any Bible verses to cite, and I don't think you're despicable. I think you guys are doing a good job taking a stand, and finally, our people have a voice, and it's been heard. And I appreciate that. We've been called activists for standing up for our students, and I'm just a concerned parent. And if that makes me an activist, that means everybody that showed up for this woman are activists too. So you might want to reconsider your words. My whole life, I've been Lakota my whole life for 47 years. There's people that moved to Rapid City less than that. I've lived on Lakota territory, treaty territory, which are inside these Rapid Cities, inside those boundaries. None of you probably know that though. Because our ways are not able to be taught in this school system.
Mr. Bell, you
So,
direct your
okay.
comments to the board.
So our ways are not being able to be taught in this school system, which is unfair to our people, but that's gonna change. People forgot about 100% of the expulsions in this school system are Native American. Why isn't there a turnout for those students the way this is? You know, it's kind of sad. Our students get judged every day and sentenced on hearsay. They're convicted all the time on hearsay and never gets this amount of attention. from this community. If they stand up for our students and love education so much and want our future to succeed, they should show up for our students in this manner. It's not just this woman who is the end all, save all stuff. You have faculty, you have teachers, janitors, all the way down to the janitors are important to our students. They're important to our teachers. And it's not her making the success rate. It's the parents. It's those students getting up every day, trying hard for a better education and a better future. I myself, I'm all about education. I have students in this Rapid City area school district. And I do care about my kids' education. A lot of natives care about the education. That's the only way that our people are going to defeat the systems of oppression that has been built up over 100 years. Education is our key. To get educated on your terms so we can tear down those systems that were built.
Mr. Berrigan, that's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen Kuno.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking Nicole for all of what she's done for this district. And I don't think that there's anybody here that can say she's not here for us. So as an employee, as a teacher of the district who has been through several superintendents, through different school boards, through different turmoil, and I just don't know what's going on because many of you have run for board members on transparency. But I fail to see where that transparency is happening right now. And it leads our community in wondering what on earth is going wrong. I mean, what's going on here? So we have the OCR, we have he said, she said, and it's just like, is that the best that we can do is to just lay Superintendent Swigert out there and just say, that's it? I don't see where that's solving anything. I think it divides our community. It's not working together to solve the problem. It's not having more faith in your staff, your teachers. It's like, I just would feel so unsupported. I would like to be able to say and to defend myself rather than to just have it all laid out in the public. Nobody really knows what's going on. We hear of different innuendos of, does the board have their own agenda? Why are so many people saying that? I'd like to know. I'd like that transparency. I would like this district to feel refreshed, having leadership like we felt when Nicole came to us because she's been through the district. She knows what it's like to be a teacher. She knows what it's like to help students of all walks of life. So I just don't understand why we would jump right to this rather than problem solve and see what we can do to have some consistent leadership for once in a couple decades. I'm not sure. But is this really the best that we can do for all of the educators, for all of the students, for all of the community? And you have to make that vote. And it's something that you're going to have to defend yourselves. And I hope at that point, if you elect to vote Superintendent Swigert out, what you have to say and why. Why would we jump to more unstable leadership in our district? Because that's what it's bringing. So please, do not make a rash decision. Do not be on your own agenda. That's not why you were elected to the board. You're here to represent the community, to do what is the best for the community.
Ms. Kuno, that's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. Sunny Red Bear.
Good evening. My name is Sunny Red Bear. And a member of this community. I have children in the district and, I stand before you today to express my sincere appreciation and wholehearted support for your decision to terminate the employment of the superintendent. This action is a significant step in our ongoing effort to foster an inclusive, respectful, and equitable educational environment for all students. In light of the recent OCR report, the Office of Civil Rights report, which highlights the longstanding discrimination that Native students have faced within our schools, your decision sets a critical standard for our community. It demonstrates a firm stance against racism and sends a powerful message that such behavior will not be tolerated in our educational institutions. By taking this decisive action, you are not only addressing the immediate issue, but also setting the bar for future conduct. You are establishing a precedent that racism and discrimination have no place in our schools, and that the well-being and respect of every student are of paramount importance. This decision aligns with the values of equity and justice that our community strives to uphold, and it shows that the Rapid City Area School Board is committed to fostering an environment where all students, regardless of their background, can feel safe, respected, and supported. We're not here to cancel individuals, but to address systemic issues that are being upheld by people in these positions. This is about accountability, not about someone simply making a mistake. It's about ensuring that our educational leaders embody the principles of inclusivity and respect that we expect from all of our students. Your decision to uphold and hold true to accountability is a powerful statement, and it shows that you are listening to the voices of those who have been marginalized and affected and are taking concrete steps to address the systemic issues within our schools that have been outlined by the Office of Civil Rights. And we are proud of the steps you have taken, and we stand with you in your efforts to create a better, more equitable educational system for all students. And thank you for your leadership and dedication to making our school the place where every student can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Sazu.
Good evening, board. I just want to thank you all for your commitment to public service tonight and for sitting through and listening to so many concerned community members. I know as leaders, you always want to see community show up. And so it's always a good thing when there's a lot of speakers, and really appreciate you all for staying so late tonight. Again, my name is Amy Sazu. I am a mother of a seventh grader, soon to be seventh grader at North Middle School. I'm an active, engaged parent and community member, volunteer within the schools still. My husband and I both volunteer within the schools, and I've ran for school board several times because of the issues that we are talking about today. I would like to remind the board and everybody in this room that this issue and the level of the level of this issue, the level of this decision-making tonight is not about one person. It's about 3,000 or more, give or take, students in this district who have experienced firsthand racism, discrimination, which is painted black and white in the OCR report. I don't see how we can take, so again, to be very transparent here, as a participant in the listening sessions, I was part of taking time out of my own day to share stories. So I have personal stories, my daughter's own story. So as a mother, my daughter has been traumatized. She's 19 years old, but her experiences at North Middle School and Central High School left long-term mental health issues for her that we've worked on really hard over the last 6 years to help her manage. I was able to share some of her personal stories, our personal stories regarding discipline, as well as access to 504 to special ed services that were not met with her time here in the district. As I sat through those listening sessions, I also took stories from the community. I went to town halls, I spoke with people, and I took stories back to the listening sessions, sharing the experiences of real people in this community, of children, of young people, of youth, of parents, of grandparents who are raising children, and the things that they have experienced, and I shared them with the OCR team. I do take insult to the idea that any of the outcomes, any of the things shared from the OCR report are not true. As somebody who volunteered and spent time sharing stories, getting stories from people, getting their permission to share those stories, The OCR report is based on factual information from real people in this community. I will not get into this idea that, that somebody was misquoted, misrepresented, but I will say that I was part of the strategic planning session that started at the end of Dr. Simon's tenure here. And we had robust, open conversations about the Indigenous Education Task Force and the findings from that as well. We talked openly about hopes of addressing them, about working through the issues that we found through the Indigenous Education Task Force, to only have that stopped after, I think, 2 meetings. I was then again part of the last strategic planning session where I did bring up issues again of the achievement gap and the disparities that exist between Native American students and non-Native students, to have them sidelined while we were kind of coaxed through a strategic planning session that didn't include as much community input as we would have liked to see. I was not the only person in that session, in that group, that voiced that concern, but had nowhere else to go with it. We were not sought after for any additional feedback. I was not given any. Okay, well, I was not given any opportunity to give that feedback, and I would have. But thank you for your time tonight, and I hope you make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we made it. Got through all the comments. At this time, before we go into item 6, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess, please. We are back on the agenda. Just give me one more minute. Okay. I made an opening statement that we have not made a decision until we vote. It is unfortunate that that is not believed, and it is the issue that I'm struggling with right now, because we have not had the chance now, after hearing the comments, to absorb those comments and contemplate those comments. And I think it's important to me to give fair credence to your voices and to give fair credence to the emails that I received today. And I don't know how to do that. Let me try this. I would like to make a motion to add a executive session to contemplate and absorb the comments that we've just received. I know it's already been a long night, but I think for me, I need 10 minutes to contemplate what I've heard. And to process that. 10-minute executive session. We will come back out of executive session and continue with item number 6 and continue with the rest of the agenda. So we will have item 7, item 8, and item 9. But my motion is to take a 10-minute executive session. That would be under SDCL 25-2.1.
Correct. Correct.
Yes, that is my motion.
I need a second, please.
I'll second.
Okay, we've been motioned and seconded that we will take a 10-minute executive session. We will come out of that executive session, continue with agenda items 6, 7, 8, 9, and then obviously 10. Any discussion? Okay,
Christine.
yes, ma'am.
Would it be okay if we can just verify with our council that, are we positive we're allowed to amend the agenda at this way and this point?
Yes,
You verify,
yes.
then no.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, Shirley, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Troy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Walt,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
motion carries 7-0.
All right, we are now in executive session. Please, you all can stay. We will leave. We will leave and go to the board office. Again, my apologies for the extra 10 minutes. I know it's been I know many of you have other things to do, but please allow me this time. Right, we are officially out of executive session. I'll give just a few minutes for people who
Left this on
may. All right, thank you all for your patience. We're back on the original agenda, item number 6, board response to open forum. I will, at this time, read a statement, and then if any other board members have any comments, they are free to do so at this time. We truly do want to thank everyone for coming to the meeting tonight. And it is with a sincerity that we do value and respect everyone in this room and everyone beyond this room. We appreciate the thoughtful emails that we received, and I know many of us were not able to respond to every email. I started off trying to respond to everybody, and everyone I responded to, I got to, so I never did get caught up. But thank you so much for your emails that we received, the in-person conversations that we've held with people, and the phone calls that we've made. As many of you know, that sitting at this table isn't easy, but it is comforting that we all share one goal, and that's to ensure the vision of this district remains the focus of all our decisions, whether they're big or small. I believe that RCAS strengthens community through education, communication, appreciation, and celebration. Sometimes the communication piece can be difficult, especially in situations like these, where we must uphold our obligation to keep employment matters confidential. While we all value transparency, transparency can be hampered due to employment matters, ongoing legal issues, and/or the confidential nature of executive sessions. And one of the toughest things that it was to read in the emails and hearing tonight is the thought that this board is not trying to be transparent. The state statute says that board meetings only need to be given a 24-hour notice. And because of our desire to be transparent, we put out the notice of this agenda at the same time we do every meeting. We held it on the same day that we do every meeting. We have it at the same time as we do all our meetings. And so it's never been our goal, our desire, our motto to not be as transparent as we can with the public. This community has trusted us to have a seat at this table, and we take that responsibility very seriously. Although we cannot comment specifically, we do want you to know that our priorities remain the same. We are dedicated to serving this district, the students, the staff, and the community at large. At this time, are there any other responses to open forum? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for K-12 termination and leaves.
So moved.
Well, second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the K-12 termination and leaves. Is there any board member that would like to have a discussion? Seeing none, Shirley, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Troy Carr,
Yes.
Jamie Clapham,
Yes.
Christine Stevenson,
Yes.
Donna Moore,
No.
Michael Berkland,
Yes.
Walt Swan,
Yes.
Katie Urban,
Yes.
motion carries 6-1.
Item number 8, other. Any board member would like to have an other?
Yes, I'm trying to get to my hand.
Ms. Stephenson.
I'm embarrassed that I served in the. Shame on all of you. Yes, shame. Shame. Good job. How many of you are bought by NGN? How many of you? That's great. All of them. Every one of you.
All right, I forgot. That made me forget where I was. All right.
It was me.
Ms.
It was me.
Stephenson.
So thank you to all of you here, to all the people that showed up, and to all of you streaming, all of you watching in the future. This decision that we made tonight was an extremely difficult one. And especially after reading your emails and hearing your testimony the last 2 days, and frankly, all summer long, it has been gut-wrenching. It's been so hard. Nobody on the board tonight, though, joined this board to make easy decisions and thinking that it would be a piece of cake. I joined with the lofty goal of making this the best district for students in the state of South Dakota. Despite everything, I think we're still on track to reach this goal. I've been a member of this board for 4 years and a parent in the district for 9. I know that this district is so much bigger than any one person. I know we're gonna be okay. We have a strong strategic plan. We have smart and innovative district leaders, and we have the best teachers and staff in the state. I know you all will greet our kids next week with the enthusiasm and commitment that they deserve. Just as the board will enter this school year with a commitment to find the very best superintendent who can lead us into the next quarter century. To all of you, thank you for your dedication to the district. Thank you for showing up. Together, we can continue to do this hard, noble, and rewarding work.
Ms. Clapham.
One, for anybody who knows me or has watched me in this chair very much, I'm just gonna apologize in advance. I'm an empath. So this is not easy, so I'm gonna do my best. To our staff, district families, and the community at large, I know that many of you are angry and many of you are hurting. Because of that, I know that you may not truly hear or process my words right now. And that is absolutely understandable. Hopefully they'll be somewhat understandable on the recording. Nonetheless, I want to say this on record for all of you to hear and to look back on for years to come. First of all, I honor and acknowledge the 33 years that Mrs. Swigert served in this district and the hundreds and probably thousands of lives she impacted. That is to be commended, celebrated, and never forgotten. I am grateful. This is likely the most difficult situation that I have faced in this seat. It is possible, and I would believe indeed likely, that I could lose friendships over this decision. Relationships that my husband and children have could be negatively affected. That is the part of the risk and consequence of accepting the responsibilities that I have. I sit in this chair because I care, and I'm committed to this community. I care deeply for people. I care enough to take off work, to drive across the state, to spend 2 days learning how to make ways to make this district better. I care enough to coach white basketball, to donate blood, to chaperone post prom, to spend 4 to 5 hours in a day responding to emails. And my apologies that I couldn't get to all of you, hope especially you.
And thank you for trusting me to reach out and be open and honest about your convictions. That means a lot. I care enough to be willing to sit in this chair and at times be insulted and the worst assumed about me and my character. I serve on this board because I care. I know that many people do not know me personally, and thus you may not know my character. But any and every decision I've ever made in this seat is based on integrity, authenticity, and what is best for kids in this district as a whole. No decision I have ever made as a board member is influenced by politics, coercion, personal feelings, or any agenda. My board member decisions are made with considerable discernment and processing of all available information. I truly wish that each of you could have all the information that those of us sitting at this table do, but due to legal restrictions, you likely never will. Choices and decisions made in this position are always going to leave some community members pleased and some upset and disappointed. Thus, I cannot make decisions based on what makes people happy, but what is best for Rapid City Schools. That means what is best for 12,000 plus students, and as I often say, 12,000 of somebody's babies. That means what is best for nearly 1,800 staff who I support and encourage, and I take time to visit and talk with in every single one of the buildings. My vote tonight was no different. I know there is concern regarding stability and what happens next. I can say with confidence that we will continue with the great initiatives and programs that are working. Myself nor the rest of this board has any intention to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We will continue to support and help grow effective programs and initiatives that are working. We have great administrators and a district leadership team that is strong and determined, and have shown that through the challenging times we faced the last 3 months. This board will take time to discern wisely and choose the next leader of this district. I am committed to doing the work, to being present, to supporting our families, students, and staff during this transitional time and beyond. The ones who agree with me and the ones who don't. Servant leadership is not easy. Servant leadership is respecting and communicating and collaborating with people, whether you agree with them or not, whether you like them or not. Today and every day, I promise to everyone in this community that as long as you will have me, I will continue to be a servant leader.
Thank you. Mrs. Urban.
I want to emphasize that this vote. Mike's on. I want to emphasize that this vote is not a decision that I made lightly. I have read every email, listened closely to each of you tonight, many of whom I deeply respect, and I've spent a great deal of time reflecting on this issue. It is not political. It is not fun, and it's certainly not how I wanted to start my tenure or how I wanted Ms. Swigert to end hers. As someone who deeply values communication and transparency, remaining silent has been challenging. Even now, we are unable to discuss this. Our community has placed its trust in us to represent their best interests, and I take that responsibility to heart. This board is committed to doing what's best for our district, and I say that with absolute conviction because I haven't always felt this way about boards in our district's past. We have a strong leadership team in place, and I have complete confidence in their ability to guide us forward. They're not just continuing the important work already underway, they're also prepared to confront our challenges head on. I appreciate the advocacy and passion here tonight, and my vote reflected a thorough consideration of the information that was available to me, and it's grounded in my belief about what is best for our students, staff, and community.
Mr. Berkland.
Thank you. I don't have a nice long statement because I knew that I worked with 3 colleagues who would say exactly what I wanted to say. But I do just want to say that it is unfortunate that we cannot ever share all of the details. And I know that it is a big ask right now, and particularly from those of you who do know me, which is the hardest. I ask for your trust, and I hope that I can work to rebuild any trust that was lost tonight. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? I do appreciate the comments that were made that everything is not all bad. And I want to honor Mrs. Swiggert's 30-plus years of service in her various capacities of RCAS. And I haven't known her for 30 years, but I have worked with her for the 2.5 and 3 years that we've been working together. And specifically, when I came on the board, I had a concern about what we were doing about the security in our schools. With that suggestion, Mrs. Swaggart galvanized the support of each building and the principals, and she hired a security manager. And that is why we have that position now. We have an awesome district director's leadership. I came to realize more acutely that she hired each one of those men and women, except for Shane, that will be the backbone of us going further. In her desire to be positive about the district, she initiated on the agenda sharing the success. And that is something that will continue. And so I too agree that this day, this moment has been very difficult for me, and it hasn't been easy. Mr. Berkeley. Oh, your hand is still up. Okay. Under the title of transparency, Dr. Strasser will continue his role as interim/assistant superintendent. There will be an immediate job search for an interim superintendent to serve the 24-25 school year. There will then be a job posting and an exhaustive search for a superintendent to be in place for the 25-26 school year. There will be a press release, don't let me lie on camera, tonight or
Tomorrow.
Okay. All right, so I just wanted to say that, so in this setting, for those of you that were patient enough to stay, that is our plan going forward, and we will have a more correctly worded statement from the district. Okay, with that being said, I think I said that succinctly. If any board member needs to correct how they see the mix. Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion for item 9, to go into executive session SDCL 1-25-2.1 and 2.3. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, thank you.